Leprechauns in space!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they take Leprechaun to space, and I can't remember exactly what planet it was, or if it was the moon.
It was like watching two separate movies because you have this space drama going on,
and then there's the space ship,
and then they go back to the cave, which was, pretty much paper bags with Flexstone and glitter.
You loved this movie, didn't you?
I hated it.
So yeah, there's he's in space now. This planet he's on is apparently
being mined.
Yeah. So the United States government or the world government or whatever you want to put it as was after this planet because of the high gold content in the rocks there. So of course, who holds key to all that gold? None other than Leprechaun himself.
I don't think we were ever told how he got there.
No, we were never told how Leprechaun got to space.
We never, supposedly, when they go to the other scene, which seems like you're watching a different movie if you walked in at different times, when and it just didn't make sense to me. It was, space drama or they're in a cave. And then for the princess that the Leprechaun was with in the cave, her father was the king, and he gave away his money to the people so that they, don't have to live in poverty on this planet made of gold. And then, is that the same planet, or was she kidnapped from some other planet?
Oh yeah, that's right. There was the queen, the princess, or whatever.
Yeah. Now
the alien princess from a different planet. She was from a different planet.
Okay, well then, so apparently Leprechaun is capable of interplanetary travel.
Yeah, he's got a pot of gold spaceship, I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't know. He's magic, Kevin. He's magic. He has his powers cannot be contained. Are you kidding me? He's a leprechaun.
Yeah, that's it was really reaching in this episode.
Well, they kind of go back a little bit. He's getting married again. He wants to marry the queen. Or was she a queen or a princess?
She was a princess, but he wanted to be the king because he
wanted
respect. He was having a Rodney Dangerfield complex and didn't get no respect.
Rodney Dangerfield complex?
Rodney Dangerfield.
How's that go?
I don't get no respect.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you're right. He did have a respect issue. There's actually a Detroit reference in that movie.
Yes, there was. Yes, and very offensive to the people of Detroit, although it's kind of fitting.
What did they say? Something about it was a shitty planet, or was it? What were they comparing it to the planet, or was it comparing to the spaceship or something?
For where they were, it was a flat area, flashes going on, so kind of like a storm in the background or explosions or whatever.
Right.
And then one of them made a remark about how bad it looked, and
somebody else, the sergeant or something.
Yeah, the sergeant goes, "Well, I've been to worse places. I've been to Detroit."
Yeah.
Nice nod there.
We'll take credit for that one. So yeah, once again he goes back to trying to get married. There's Space Marines. There's so the Space Marines go and they didn't. I don't think they knew that the Queen was in the planet or the being taken over by Leprechaun at the moment. She was kind of an extra bonus for interplanetary alliances in the future. So the Space Marines break in there and fight and happens, and they end up blowing up the Leprechaun
with a little grenade, with a worst looking grenade ever.
Yeah, it looked pretty sad. One of the things which was interesting, though, Leprechaun kills one of the people, and he uses a green lightsaber.
Yes.
I didn't know he was a Jedi.
That was a nice touch.
And he knows how to work a blaster. He's like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
Oh, of course. And he was an Elvis impersonator in Part 3.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
So he's a multi-talented, but I guess when you live thousands of years and have... you're sealed in a crate, and have nothing better to do, you could practice all this stuff.
Or he's sealed in stone. He had a soft heart in that movie at the beginning. He actually saved himself, or saved his fiancée, or the princess, whatever, because he kind of talked her into, hey, look here, woman, I'm going to make all this money, I'm going to have all this gold, we're going to take over the kingdom, and you're going to be my queen. That's what it's going to be. And she's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, she was greedy. He wanted.
She's like, I'll kill him later, but yeah, that's fine. We'll roll with what you got so far. Anyway, so he's kind of like, oh, really? And he throws the grenade, or the Marine throws the grenade, and he goes and dives on. He saves his woman by diving on the grenade and taking that grenade in, so his woman wouldn't die.
But sadly, the franchise didn't, and
no, the franchise didn't.
Neither did he.
So then they end up taking the princess, or the queen, or yeah, the princess. The princess. Sorry, they take the princess on to the spaceship, and the Leprechaun gets on the spaceship. How did he get on the spaceship there, Big Kev?
That's because the Space Marine that threw the grenade went to urinate on one of the limbs from the Leprechaun, and they crawled back up into him, and he got in
via urinary tract.
Yes, he got in a bad way.
And then later on the spaceship, they have a little party, and
in the worst, by far the worst looking spaceship ever.
Yeah. So yeah, he goes and tries to get it on with this other Marine.
That actually was the Tool Girl from Home Improvement.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it was.
I would like to say I would like to go back just to watch that, but I'm not going to. I'll take your word for it that it was the Tool Time Girl.
Yes.
Oh,
well, they had many Tool Time girls.
Well, yeah, Pamela Anderson, of course.
Yeah, but this was lesser known, but she was very buxom and very pretty.
Yeah, I remember. She was the better looking one. I never liked Pam in that. I mean, she was cute, but it was over Pam. So yeah, he starts to have a funny feeling in his pants, and she's like, well, what am I doing wrong, kind of thing, and he's like, you're doing too rough, and next thing you know, it's not actually her, it's the Leprechaun coming out of his penis. He's got quite a Leprechaun boner in this scene, and of course, the member explodes, and the character dies. So that's more the boner explosion, as I put it.
And she runs back to the world's worst, or the universe's worst nightclub.
Yeah, well, the space nightclub that was going on, there was all the hooting and hollering of the drunk Marines.
On the ship, it appears to be, as we've seen from sci-fi movies, just your basic trawler, whatever, cargo ship, but for some reason has a fully functioning nightclub.
Yeah.
And of course, all the Space Marines have nothing better to do than to all the guys go up and dance together, which is disturbing.
Yeah, well, there was like what, one woman in that whole thing? Two.
The Tool Time chick, and then
the princess.
The princess, and then the other, the doctor's assistant.
Was there a doctor's assistant female? Oh yeah, duh, yeah, you're right. So there was next thing you know, the Marines start finding out about the killings and this and that. They start going after the Leprechaun. Of course, there's money involved. So they find out who the doctor is. There's like a doctor, like the Wizard of Oz, and behind the curtains, literally. And this doctor, of course, is a German doctor, Dr. Evil type.
Yeah,
explain what he looked like.
The classic creepy, Joseph Mengele-esque, horrible. He's basically a head with an arm, and the rest of it is
a cyborg.
Well, not even that. I'd say a rolling trash can with assorted jars and tubes.
Yeah.
That was kind of a nod back to the Star Trek episode, I guess, where the cage, the very first episode, where
don't even ask me about Star Trek.
James Kirk was on trial, and the former captain or something was all burned up and sitting in this mobile wheelchair. They had that on South Park too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, the battery died. Beep once for yes, beep once for no.
Yep, that was during that whole thing with that chick in Florida that wanted her plug pulled or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, current events with South Park. So the doctor ends up paying the Marines more money, and they go after the Leprechaun, and one by one they start getting killed. So they stopped at the boner explosion. One of them gets smashed with the crate. There's the little piggy on the catwalk scene. I like that one, where the guy was hanging onto the catwalk and the Leprechaun was on top, and he's Leprechaun was going to the little piggy this little piggy went to the market. He had his own version, of course, and then that person ends up falling. There's another scene which was so hokey, where the Leprechaun throws basically like a food tray at one of the Marines and smashed his face up against the wall. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And it turned into a smashed face. It looked like a plate face or a pizza face. It looks like one of those old claymation things from the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was terrible.
Well, they do that later in the movie too, don't they? In the big climax scene, the other assistant to the doctor, something gets thrown at his face, except it squishes his head flat.
Was that? I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, more towards the end of the movie, before the doctor becomes the amazing Spider Doc.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. The doctor gets a little schizophrenic. Oh no, I'm sorry, not the doctor, but he turns into a mutant because how did it go? Oh, the Leprechaun put a scorpion
and a tarantula
in a blender.
Yeah, with the DNA that was extracted from the princess, because she has regenerative blood.
Yes,
and
I forgot about that. She's got regenerative. Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor basically wanted
the princess,
a body back.
Yeah, he wanted his body back
because he was just the head and arm on the.
Oh, there's so many little goofy things going on with this movie. Sorry if any of you guys seen this movie and we don't hit every single little point in this movie. We apologize. I mean, we were totally enthralled with this movie, so we don't remember exactly everything. We try to forget about these moments.
Yeah, I've got zombies chewing on my brain, and I'm losing more and more as I go on.
Oh, my goodness. So, yes, the blender, and then they put him into... the Leprechaun puts the fluid into the doctor's fluids, and the doctor ends up becoming the mutant Mitten, Dr. Mitten, that was his name. The Mitten Spider, as he called it, I believe.
Yeah.
Even though he had a scorpion back. He was... I can't remember what his goal was. I don't think he really had a goal, did he? The Spider Doctor Scorpion thing?
He wanted to get some help to try to get what was left of him back.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if there was anything human left in him...
he was eating flies off the wall kind of thing.
Okay,
so then there was another one that was electrocuted by gunpoint. That's what I wrote down. One of the guys pointed a gun at him or something like that, and somehow he got electrocuted.
They kind of went around and around with the guns, though, because sometimes they were lasers, sometimes they were bullets.
Yeah.
Nothing like shooting live ammo in a spaceship,
Yeah. Let's see. Of course, the princess is... Or no, not princess, but I think she's a wrestler. The doctor's assistant, now I think about it. I think she's an actual professional wrestler. I'm not exactly sure. But there's a scene where she's fighting with the spider or the leprechaun or whatever. I can't remember exactly. But of course, her clothes get ripped off and she's running around in her panties and bra pretty much throughout the rest of the movie, which I thought was kind of interesting. Her name was Jessica Collins, I think, or something. So Leprechaun starts wanting the girl as opposed to the gold, because come to find out they have a shrink ray in that spaceship, and they shrink down his gold, and he's quite upset with that. There's also a great line in that movie, and then we'll end it with Leprechaun 4, which I like that he did. Small though I am, mighty is my spirit. When bloody battles calls, come at me with what you will. Shoot me, stab me, kill me 100 times. 100 ways, and still I fight on. I am eternal as the sun. I am as 1,000 demons from hell. Death and destruction are my game. Agony is my name. I thought that was pretty wicked.
Now, are you going to get a tattoo of that, little Kev?
Hell no. All right, and then the Leprechaun at the end becomes a giant by using the that shrink ray I mentioned in reverse.
Of course, the reverse shrink ray.
And then you're dealing with giant leprechaun, just like Alien's Resurrection, if any of you horror film fanatics are familiar with. There's an alien in that movie which gets kind of blown up a little bit. And they die the same way. They open up the doors to space, and Leprechaun goes out in space. And he doesn't get separated, though. Does he?
Yeah. He
did get separated. He did get blown to pieces. All right.
Yeah, he blows up in space because it's a vacuum. The alien, though, wasn't that the queen alien that got sucked outside?
No. Yeah, the queen alien got sucked. No, it was the baby. The baby of between the mixed. Oh no, the monstrosity between Ripley's blood. It was half human and half alien from Ripley.
Well, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the only alien that was sucked out because
well.
Didn't they run to that?
You know what? We'll go through that. We'll go through that in our Space Invaders episode.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll touch on that one later on. And then for Leprechaun 4, we had a kill count of 7. Not much going on as far as that goes. I had a couple little tidbits.
Yes, too bad 2 of the kills for Leprechaun 4 weren't me and Little Kev.
Yeah.
Because after watching that, we truly wanted to die.
So if we can run through, then we can go to a movie that we watched just quite recently. Was Leprechaun in the Hood. I'll run through this one real fast because this one hurt my head. And it hurt your head as well, I'm pretty sure, correct?
Every sense of my body is burning at this point.
There was nothing but terrible writing. This movie was meant to be a funny movie as well, but it was so much dialogue and there was so much story that there was not much killing. I mean, they had a kill count of 10, but that was the other sad thing is that they didn't really show too much of the killing. You just kind of assumed that these people died.
Yeah, lamest.
It was very meant for
ever.
TV, if you will. I guess you could say
it could have been made for TV.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, they almost looked like watching that movie. There was actually parts where it faded to black and it looked like it would go to a commercial, and then it went back to the movie.
It was, and some of the part was after school special-esque.
Yeah.
Some of it was just
the good rapper wanted to do positive things, and then of course Ice-T wanted to do gangster rap, and then the other kid kind of talked him into it. Next thing you know, they're robbing and stealing.
Yeah, good kids that make bad choices and the consequences that ensue.
There was a couple of times I laughed out loud, though. Well, real quick, this movie's about a magic flute. There's not so much about his gold. Once again, like in the fourth one, there was not so much infatuation. The Leprechauns didn't have too much of an infatuation with his gold. This movie was not so much of an infatuation with the gold as well. The gold actually end up getting pawned off to a pawnbroker again, and turned into cash, and he kind of follows the paper trail. But there's a magic flute in this one. But they kind of bring it back to the first movie, which was kind of interesting. They flash back to the first one during the first scene, and they also touch on the third movie where he was actually still in stone. Leprechaun was in stone, encased with the amulet.
They got these props, you might as well use them.
Yeah. And the first scene was pretty funny, though, because Ice-T had a fro and his buddy had a fro. It was taken back to the 70s.
Worst fros ever.
Which doesn't make too much sense, because if this was going back to the old movies, like Leprechaun 3 and the first movie, this was in the 70s. And these movies of Leprechaun 1, 2, 3, and 4 were taking place after the 70s and the 90s. So this was taking place in the 70s. And then this movie, as it takes back, or it fast forwards, 10, 20 years, and now they're in the 2000s era, rap era. So it took place after 1, 2, and 3, which was kind of odd. I don't know. It was just kind of
it jumped around more than The Godfather, and it was.
Yeah.
But at least The Godfather was enjoyable to watch.
Right. So Ice-T, Triple OG. There's the Colt 54 little thing in there. There's a 6-pack of Colt 54 in one of the rooms where they were getting the Leprechaun out of.
When they go for the original search for gold, they wind up in what appears to be some type of tunnel.
It was like an underground building of some sort.
Yeah, basement of a building, or what the hell's that thing called?
It looked like a cemented garage almost.
Yeah, something.
Garage. It looked like a parking garage.
And there's a half-eaten burger and a 6-pack of Colt 54 and a bag of crap sitting there. And one of them points out, "Oh, the burger's still good." Why?
Why what?
Unless you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you're not eating anything in a sewer.
That's true. That's been down there for ages and ages and ages.
But yet, Ice-T feels free to drink one of the Colt 54s later.
Well, did he really?
Yes.
I didn't even notice that.
And there's busting through walls, and of course, someone has to steal the medallion off the Leprechaun,
and he comes back to life. And in the first kill scene, which was kind of interesting, how did that go?
Death by pick.
Death by Afro pick.
Yes, he grabs the Afro pick out of the one. I can't even remember his name.
Let's say victim number one.
Yeah, he grabs victim one's Afro pick and jams it in his throat.
He dies.
Yippee!
Yep.
He doesn't have to come back for anymore.
And then Ice-T takes the golden crack pipe, which it looked like. It looked like a fucking crack pipe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Of course, no. I'm not trying to. It's kind of funny because Ice-T was in New Jack City, which was a crack movie, and of course he goes after the crack pipe in this movie, which is kind of interesting similarity.
But it was a golden flute.
Oh, and then there's the golden moment where Leprechaun spits out a Martin Luther King quote to
yes,
Ice-T. What was the quote?
Free at last, free at last.
I'm free at last.
Lord God Almighty, I'm free at last. Yep. And I'm sure that if this movie wasn't offensive already to those of African American descent, then that should have been.
Yep.
And the whole fact that they came up with part 2,
yes,
makes me grateful that we had technical difficulties and couldn't watch part 2.
The audience should be thankful that we have not watched the second Back to the Hood. So anyway, there's another funny part in that scene, that quick scene there. Ice-T pulls a bat out of his fro. He's pulling stuff out of his fro like a knife and this and that. Next thing you know, he pulls out a baseball bat.
He had a pistol in his fro.
Yeah.
He had a switchblade in his fro, and then a full-size baseball bat.
Yeah. Which was kind of cool because I thought, okay, this is going to be a funny movie. And it ended up not being much of a funny movie at all.
Yeah, at that point when he was picking the weapons out of his fro, I was immediately taken back to "I'm gonna get you, sucker."
Yeah. That was a great movie.
The guy was all strapped up and just dropping guns left and right. But no, we were thoroughly disappointed after that. I know I was thoroughly disappointed. It got worse from there.
What's sad is that this movie went back and forth to being funny and being serious at the same time. And it was trying to be serious at these moments. And they just threw in a couple little funny things to it. And it was not well done at all whatsoever. The, back and forth, the funny and not funny kind of thing.
And none of the characters were likable. None of them were relatable.
No.
None of you were hoping that they were going to die soon.
And we had a kill count of 10 on that movie. Couple of quick things. Leprechaun knew who Tiger Woods was, even though he was in stone for however many years, which was kind of interesting. When he got brought back to life later on in the movie. Well, the amulet gets back onto the Leprechaun, and Leprechaun is now in front of Pimp Daddy, Mac Daddy, Ice-T's room, and obviously Ice-T's made fame and fortune off of.
Wasn't his character in that movie Mac Daddy?
Mac Daddy, yeah.
Yes, that's very original.
Yeah, so Mac Daddy. I just call him Ice-T. So Ice-T...
he might come and kick your ass.
Okay, so Mac Daddy had encased in glass or whatever, Leprechaun stone statue with the amulet on top of him. He ends up getting these rappers want to make it famous, and they go and rob Ice-T after getting shot down from Ice-T.
Mac Daddy.
I'm sorry.
In the gangster rap scene. Mm-hmm. And the whole gist of this little rap group that these three have is they want to be on a positive term.
Yeah, they're conscious rappers. That's what they call them.
Yeah, so that would go over like a lead balloon.
Yeah, so real quick, they break into the Mac Daddy's house, and after getting shot down from him, because Mac Daddy wants him to do gangster rap, and they break into the glass and they take the amulet, and sure enough, Leprechaun comes back, and then the movie continues. Throughout the movie, there's this Leprechaun smoking weed in this whole movie. From pretty much, after he comes back, Ice-T, or Mac Daddy, I'm sorry, splits a joint with him, and then Leprechaun gives the joint back to him, drops the joint, takes his fucking finger off. There's drag queens in this movie.
There's a lot of...
ladies and gentlemen, I did say drag queens. There are drag queens in this movie. One of them meets up... Actually, that's one of the Leprechaun's kills, is this drag queen, and it's kind of funny. Leprechaun walks in the door and he says, "I didn't come to play with fruit. I came here for my flute."
Which actually enticed the
it made the drag queen a little bit. She was aroused, or he or she or whatever was aroused after that. And next thing you know, they go in the bedroom, and it appears that Leprechaun's having sex with this thing, and come to find out he's just choking him. And it's actually a couple chokes. Leprechaun chokes out a couple victims in this movie, which is kind of sad. There's the douche bomb. Can you explain what that was real quick?
Yeah, they took a heating pad and poured douche on there, and then put KY jelly on there, and
connected it to a
plugged it in the wall. And then when the Leprechaun was come through the door, they were going to flip on the light switch, which had the I guess it powered that socket, and it was going to burst into flames.
So they also brought back the safe scene from the third movie. Leprechaun winds up back in the safe somehow again. Same kind of trickery. They open up the door and Leprechaun goes back in there. Stupid shit again. What was I gonna say? There's a cameo with Coolio in there. One of the old rappers from back in the day. He did that Gangster's Paradise, which was probably his only hit for the Dangerous Mind movie. Every time this one rapper starts tooting on this flute, everybody pays attention, and next thing you know, a hit ensues afterwards.
And miraculously better.
Next thing you know, a party happens every single time they start rapping again.
Just the room is magically filled with people that have not been there before, even though they're wearing the same clothes from the last scene.
Yeah.
And a party ensues. The sound is much better. The rapping is substantially better from before, when it was basically horrible.
Absolutely.
Not to say that it got any better to my taste, but
no. So let's see what else happened. There was the Leprechaun ends up becoming a pimp afterwards and throughout this movie. How?
Why?
I don't know. He ends up having these zombie leprechaun fly girls, as he actually says it in the movie.
The zombie fly girls.
Zombie fly girls, yes. And they basically are kind of temptresses throughout the movie. There's, like I said, there's not much going on in this movie. There's a lot of filler, which was not necessary at all. There's the death by throw pick. There's the electric microphone. He kills one of the bartenders with a microphone stand. He electrocutes it somehow. There's the pawnbroker. There's a pawnbroker in this movie that gets killed by illusion of this old girlfriend of his that you never heard a backstory about her. It was her name was Jackie C. But she beats the hell out of him, where you're assuming that she's beating the hell out of him, because you don't see him die.
Yeah, they just cut away, and
right.
that part of the story is done. They never picked it up again.
And there's a guy running a bodega or some sort. He's Mr. Chow, the Asian, Korean probably, because it's L.A. He gets choked. The drag queen gets choked. There's the magic. There's a magic blow-through guy. How'd that one work?
Well, he was saying I was hoping someone was going to say blow, and then he just...
Oh yeah, he blew his breath and it exploded a hole. Yeah. There's a couple of those too. There's two of those.
Yeah.
There's the guy that gets blown through, like literally blown through, and he died. The Reverend got a hand through the stomach. The fly girl let the leprechaun out of the safe, of course.
We're led to assume because...
you're led to assume because you never find out. The one rapper's name is Stray Bullet. He gets a bullet to the head. He shoots himself because of mind control, or gun control, or whatever you want to call it.
Lack of gun control.
Lack of gun control.
Lack of his gun control.
Mac Daddy shoots one of the characters, and then Mac Daddy ends up getting another hole blown through him by the original OG, Leprechaun. And you're left with Leprechaun and the one main rapper. There was three rappers. One of them survived. So Leprechaun ends up making him a zombie rapper. And at the end of the movie, you see him rapping, and then rap. Well, real quick, there's a couple more cross-dressing. Before the climax, they figured out they used the Leprechaun for Dummies book. I didn't know they made a Leprechaun for Dummies. And they found out that Leprechaun was one of his weaknesses was the four-leaf clover, and so they laced a joint with with clovers, and they dressed up as drag queens to get close to the Leprechaun, and passed the joint to him, and he ends up getting weak or whatever. But he ends up coming back. He comes out of it or whatever, and at the end, the rapper does his little goofy rap or whatever, and then next thing you know, at the climax of the film, what happens, Big Kev?
He's a zombie flyboy.
But after
rapper.
that, what happens?
The Leprechaun starts rapping.
Yes, Lep in the Hood, come to do no good.
And at that point, I'm pretty sure people just ran from the theater screaming.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Not a huge fan of this franchise.
The first one was good. The first one was alright for what it was. The second one was starting to reach, and then the third one was really reaching. So yeah, it was terrible. Let's see. So there's not much else to really talk about on this franchise, other than so Jennifer Aniston. Let's go back to that real quick. I don't know much. Did you know they made a comic book series out of this?
Really?
Yes, they made a comic book series. I would probably end up owning them if I could, just because of what they are. One of the inconsistencies with this movie, Leprechaun is 600 years old in the first movie, not 2,000 years old. And in the second movie, he's 2,000 years old because,
at least,
because when they explain at the beginning of the second movie that he was 1,000 years old, and then 1,000 years later he's obviously 2,000 years old. So that was one of the goofy things. Leprechaun 3 was originally supposed to be in 3D.
Thank God it wasn't.
Oh my God! What, would it catch you up? There was nothing there to be made 3D. I mean,
unless they would have thrown a pillow at the screen. To try to make you feel more comfortable.
I guess. And Leprechaun 4 in space was actually originally supposed to be a spoof of Apollo 13. I found that out too.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. So I was going to say, let's wrap this up. I'm sure we're probably boring the audience. We'll play a little game real quick. Before that, Leprechaun, would you want to rate this as a whole or as individuals?
Let's go individually.
Okay, Leprechaun 1. 1 to 10. 5?
5.
Yeah, I give it a 5. I give it a 6. I give it a 6 for what it was of being original, and I was terrified as a kid from this movie.
Yeah,
it was funny, but yet scary. My 5-year-old son could watch it, and he'd be fine.
Yeah, it started our original idea, good, new franchise. That kind of dropped the ball a couple times, but it could have been so much better than it was.
Right. Leprechaun 2.
God.
The one he gets married. Or wants to get married. Yeah, I give that a terrible... it was 3 for me, too. It was interesting that they brought it to L.A., and that's about it. The hearse was kind of cool. There's not much else going on, not much story. It's always the same shit, kind of typical. 3.
Negative 1,000.
Negative 1,000. Only because you had to watch it 3 times, or get up and watch it and pick it back up.
That is the cure for insomnia.
You know what? I'll actually give it a 1 to 2, because of the only reason why is because the only thing I picked up on it was the interesting way they put the 7 deadly sins in there. That's the only reason. Other than that, it was absolutely terrible.
The actress was pretty attractive too.
Oh,
okay.
So would you give it a negative 1 as opposed to negative 1,000?
Yeah, I feel bad for her that she was in that movie.
There was a kill count of 4 in that one. Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space.
Oh God. 2.
2? Why?
Just really reaching, really, really bad.
Okay.
Every space cliche, from the stamped walls to getting sucked out into space, which has been done so many times. To why?
Yeah, I give it a 2, or a 1 actually. I didn't care for it at all. Even to throw an extra villain in there, which was the mutant spider scorpion doctor, German doctor thing. And always got to be, the evil doctor's got to be a Nazi.
Well, of course.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
I don't want to rate this at all.
Okay, no rating on Leprechaun in the Hood because it's absolutely terrible.
Just worst
Worst movie ever.
Worst movie I've seen in a long time.
So we're probably past the hour mark by now, but I was going to play this little game, and I'm sure nobody wants to hear it, of course. But we'll try to run through these real quick. So Jennifer Aniston did not want anything to do with this movie at all whatsoever.
She wanted this. Her face was actually on the cover of the box.
Yes.
And she wanted that removed, so they had a reprint cover. She wanted this movie taken off the shelves. She wanted it buried because she was embarrassed because, of course...
She made friends.
Yeah. It was her gateway to acting. And, she was so very, very cute in the damn movie, but, she just didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Do you like Jennifer Aniston?
I wouldn't throw her out of the bed for eating crackers.
Well, I mean, would you? Besides the fact that you would do her, I'm just saying, as an actress, would you say she was a good actress? I'm talking about career-wise, work-wise. Do you like her work ethic?
Well, she's very typecast as America's sweetheart. The poor victim girl. Kind of aloof, kind of snotty, but you still like her anyway.
She plays, in my opinion, she plays damn near every single character, or same character in every single movie.
Yeah, that's typecasting.
Yeah, so even in this very first Leprechaun movie, she is the same character in every movie, which drives me nuts. I don't really care for her as an actress. I'd fire her. But not a lot of people know that a lot of these mainstream actors or known actors or actresses started off in horror.
Everyone's got to get their feet wet somewhere.
Well, maybe not even start off in horror. That's possibly not their first movie, but they were in horror before they became famous. So I want to play this little game with Big Kev here and see how well known of horror he really is. I didn't know all these answers to begin with until I started looking these up and I started noticing these big names. I'm like, wow, you got to be kidding me. So right off the bat, we go Jennifer Aniston. First movie role was Leprechaun. Ben Affleck. Did you know he was in a horror flick before he became the Ben that we know?
No.
He was, well, it was not exactly a horror movie, but it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, God.
With Paul Rubens. Pee-wee was in that movie as well. Not a lot of people knew that Pee-wee was in that movie.
He was in a lot of movies, though.
He was the one vampire that gets his arm cut off. He played basketball player number 10. And I remember that basketball scene. I just can't picture his face. Idle Hands was kind of a funny horror movie, yeah, but it was a starting role for
Jessica Alba.
Friday the 13th, and also Tremors.
Kevin Bacon.
He was known before Tremors, but he still continued his horror, and he ended up making Stir of Echoes too, which was kind of a horror thriller movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, that was a psychological thriller.
It's good though. I like that one. Critters 3. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Critters, but they're space hedgehogs that come down to Earth and tear us up. Who started his? That was, I think, his starting movie.
In Critters 3.
Critters 3.
I'm stumped.
Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh God. Well, he had
I think this was before Gilbert Grape.
No, but he had bit parts on TV too.
Well, yeah, I'm saying we're talking movie roles. We're not talking Twilight Zone or Tales of the Crypt, because I'm sure that'd be an endless list.
He was already an established actor, though. He was getting well known.
Not in Critters 3. Well, like I said, this is this was before they became stars. This is more of a.
Was that before or after he was on the TV shows, though?
I'd have to check the dates, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that Critters 3 came out in '93.
Okay, so you be sure to look up Leo DiCaprio when you get home.
I will. I actually like him as an actor.
Your girlfriend's going to be questioning you.
I didn't like. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, he was in some girly movies like Titanic.
I'll never let you go.
I'll never let you go, Jack.
There was room for two people on the board. Move your fat ass over.
Yes. There was so many discrepancies.
They proved that on
Leonardo. Mythbusters proved it. Leonardo could have survived.
He just didn't want to put up with her ass anymore.
Yeah, he was sick of her. Nightmare on Elm Street. Very first Nightmare on Elm Street. Who starred in that movie?
Johnny Depp.
Mr. Johnny Depp. I like Johnny. I don't know how you feel about Johnny.
That was an excellent kill scene, too. I'll never forget that. I read about that in Fangoria. It was 10,000 gallons of blood used in a rotating room.
Yeah. Well, Who would have thought he'd be a pirate from Caribbean? A pirate from the Caribbean. You know, I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to bring her up. My mother loves Johnny Depp.
Well, that doesn't mean I'm going to wear makeup for her.
Yeah. 1955, Revenge of the Creature. That's Revenge of the Black Lagoon creatures. That's Mr. Clint Eastwood. I don't expect you to get that one.
No.
He was in that. He was uncredited for it, but he was in that movie as a young man. One of his starting movies. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. He's a drug dealer. He's a dreadlocked drug dealer, but he's white. There's your
Oh, jeez.
hint.
I can't think of it.
He also played in King Kong. He did a starring
Jack
role.
Black.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jack Black.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a dreadlock drug dealer, and I Still Did Last Summer.
Well, they I think they made fun of that look in Broken Lizard's Club Dread.
Yes. You're right. This actor was in his starring role. One of his early roles was Once Bitten in 1985. It was a comedy horror flick, just like Buffy or along those lines. And he is quoted ghastly ashamed of this movie. You want your hint?
Yes.
Your hint would be we'll go horror as well, or thriller. The number 13 or 23. I'm sorry, number 23.
Mr. Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yes, 1985. Halloween 2. He was then at that time he was not in Saturday Night Live, but he was in Saturday Night Live. He is a big part of Saturday Night Live. He was also in numerous movies. Funny, think funny. You got it yet?
No.
Do you want a hint?
Yes.
Let's see. It's kind of funny. This kind of ties in with the Leprechaun. Wayne's World.
Oh, Dana Carvey.
Dana Carvey. And in that scene in Wayne's World, we'll just go because it's the sake of Leprechaun. Garth is afraid of the Leprechaun movie. And Wayne does that, I'm the Leprechaun! To Garth. And he's like, stop, man. Please stop. What's the matter, Garth? You don't like the Leprechaun? He's putting that flashlight up in his face, and he's like, dude, you're freaking me out. It's awesome. But yes, he had a small role in Halloween 2. Revenge of the Killer Tomatoes, and also Return to Horror High.
That would be George Clooney.
Mr. George Clooney. Yes, he was in those movies, and he's... I don't think he's ashamed of those movies. He's not... That guy... It just seems like a cool dude. I don't know about you, but he just seems like a down-to-earth kind of guy. He's like a guy's guy.
Well, but before he got hyperinflated, these last 5 years.
Well, he's banging frickin' sports or supermodels nonstop.
Yeah, but he's out of his mind now.
Well, maybe. 1985, the movie Creepers. She was in... Just a female. She was in Requiem for a Dream. She was in A Beautiful Mind.
Oh, jeez. I'm stumped.
Oh, the audience probably knows this one. They probably listened to or have watched A Beautiful Mind. Mrs. Jennifer Connelly. Jacob's Ladder. There's 2 for Jacob's Ladder, 1990. This actor, we'll go for the first one, the one I'm thinking of at first. He had a big role after this, which made him fucking hugely famous, and then he flopped after this. But I'll give you the other movie he was in that was kind of thrillerish, which was The Good Son.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, sir. And the other person that was had a starting role or an earlier role in Jacob's Ladder was also in People Under the Stairs, which was kind of a comedy horror flick. Did you ever see People Under the Stairs?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And he was also in... You want me to give you the big hint?
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead.
Ving Rhames?
Ving Rhames.
Yes.
Creepshow, 1982. Do you know Creepshow?
Yes.
Do you know who was in Creepshow?
Yes.
Who?
There was Leslie Nielsen. There was Ted Danson.
There it is. That's Ted Danson I was looking for. This was right near when Cheers began. So that's why he said this is right before they became famous. We mentioned this before on one of the last shows. Jack Frost in 1996.
Yeah. But that's the different Jack Frost.
What do you mean? Oh, this is the scary Jack Frost. Not
Okay.
not Batman Jack
Yeah,
Frost.
not the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Okay, who was the other one?
Well, she also played in another. It was a she. I'm sorry. She also played in another horror movie, a remake horror movie called Night of the Demons, which came out in the 2000s.
Oh, good lord!
She was also in, I think, one of the. Either she might have been in one of the scary movies. I'm not sure.
Now, see, you mentioned the Night of the Demons. I'm thinking Linnea Quigley. That I just can't.
No.
I can't get.
This is the one, the Night of the Demons with Edward Furlong was in. New one. It was a remake.
Yeah, the remake sucked monkey butt. Oh god, I forget the girl's name.
She was in American Pie. She was Nadia in American Pie.
What's her name? Shannon Elizabeth.
Shannon Elizabeth. Okay. This actor was in The Sentinel in 1977, and then also in the same year, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And then later on, he was in an 80s movie. I'm not going to reveal just yet.
Donald Sutherland?
No. So he was in an 80s movie called The Fly, another horror movie.
Jeff Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum. Okay, we got The Possessed in 1977 as well.
I was 5.
Okay, so this hint, you're going to get it. This movie came out 3 weeks before Star Wars hit the theaters. Still don't have it?
No.
He was the fugitive.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Yes, he was in a horror movie before he made it big. 3 weeks to the day before he made it big.
Well, I bet he's glad that he didn't run over other one.
You know, it's funny. The people probably don't even know about this Possessed movie because Star Wars just blew that out of the water.
Oh, there were other movies that year?
Yeah, you know. The Sentinel with Jeff Goldblum. Did you see that one? CHUD or Chud in 1984.
Guy or girl?
Guy. This is obviously before. This is before Roseanne. There's your hint. No?
No.
He was also in. No, I don't think I want to mention that one. He was in Red State with that Kevin Smith movie. What else did he play?
It wasn't John Goodman, was it?
Yep, John Goodman. John Goodman had a small role in that movie.
He was best in Raising Arizona.
Yes, that was a good one. That was on the other day.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting off the topic of horror here.
Well, this is horror. He Knows You're Alone in 1980. You're not going to get this one,
No.
but this actor is famous as hell. He has been in. Let's see. Turn Hooch.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Was in a horror movie.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I like this one. This your hint is almost in the name itself. Deaf, as in DEF, by Temptation.
Oh,
that 1990.
That was a trouble flick. I don't know who the actor was though.
He was in another horror movie, Snakes on a Plane.
Oh God, Samuel Jackson.
Yes, sir. Piranha in 1995. This is way before That 70s Show. And Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And what else has she been in? She's in the new Oz movie.
Not Mila Kunis.
Yes, sir.
Good Lord.
Mm-hmm. She was the one of the cops or something like that's daughter in that movie. House 2, The Second Story. This guy is not exactly an actor, but he's got his own talk show on HBO. He's also the writer and creator of the movie Religulous.
Bill Maher.
Yes, sir. Troll, 1986. That was a gem. She was in it once again. She was in Seinfeld.
Julie Louise-Dreyfus.
Yes, Miss Elaine. You're gonna get this one. I know this. This next question. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation in 1994. There's two actors, one actor and one actress, before they made it big, and they made it big. And actually, they were no, I'm sorry, they made it. They had a good role in a movie prior to this, I think. Actually, I don't know when the movie came out, which would it be? Dazed and Confused. Oh, you know what? The actress wasn't in that movie. I'm mistaken.
No, but that wasn't that Jessica Alba?
No.
Or
Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation in '94
'94
was the terrible one.
No, there was a couple terrible ones.
This actor, we'll go for the actor first. This actor was in a movie in the same year, I think, or no, yeah, he was in the same year. He was in I can't remember. He was in Dazed and Confused. He's also in that one movie with.
Yeah, I'd like to see Jim Brewer in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, he was also in what's that one movie? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No.
Oh, chicks love him. He's one of those guys that women love. Well, I'll just give it to you. Matthew McConaughey.
Uh-huh.
And the chick that was also in that movie she was in Jerry Maguire.
Oh, what's her name?
Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
And those two do not like that they're in that movie at all whatsoever.
Oh no! Once someone becomes a mainstream,
yeah, they don't want nothing to do with this movie.
They want nothing to do with the horror past.
Here's an old one for you: The Blob, 1958.
Very young Steve McQueen.
Yes, sir. Wow, yeah, I'm surprised. He's a famous one. You're not gonna get this one. Revenge of the Red Baron in 1994. This actor played in Spider-Man. Yes.
Toby?
Yes, Tobey Maguire. You're going to get this one. 1988 he did Prison, but he also did Leatherface in 1982. He's Leatherface's brother.
Name's on the tip of my tongue.
He's also in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings.
Why you gotta go there? Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get his name. His name is Viggo Mortensen or something.
Just Twitch.
Yes, Viggo. You're going to get this one, too. He was in The Raven in 1963 and The Terror in 1963. He was also in The Little Shop of Horrors in 1960. Before he made it big.
That would be Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
That was a bit part in
yes.
Little Shop of Horrors, too.
Yes. 1989, Cutting Glass was a horror thriller movie. This is, I think, even before. When did Thelma and Louise come out?
I'm not even sure.
Well, I think it might have. If it came out after 1989. So this guy made it big on an awesome movie named Fight Club.
Brad Pitt?
Yes, sir. Tales from the Dark Side, 1990.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, that was a good one. She was later in another horror thriller movie called Hannibal.
Oh, jeez.
Can you think of her?
No.
Julianne Moore. Children of the Corn 5 in 1998, which I'm surprised they made 5. I think they made like 7 of these movies.
Oh, they went on and on.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to do us a special on Children of the Corn? I, for one, do
yes,
not.
I think it would be good and corny.
Yeah, there you go. So, number 5, or Children of the Corn 5. She was in Fast and the Furious number 2. She was in Training Day. She was, she had a small role.
Those are all a little too new for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2000s is way too new.
Yeah, I don't get out much.
Her name is Eva Mendes. Boltneck in 2000. This is before, I think, even Van Wilder.
Ben Stiller.
No.
What?
No. Ben Stiller was not in Van Wilder.
I never saw Van Wilder.
Okay, you ever see X-Men Origins Wolverine?
No.
Oh, what the fuck. Ryan Reynolds.
Who?
The Other in 1972. He was, he was in a sitcom. I can't remember what the hell the sitcom was. But he was. You ever see Bad Santa?
Yes.
He was the almost gay, like mall manager.
Not sure.
John Ritter. Halloween, The Curse in 1995. Now this guy, this was actually his debut. I found out this was actually his debut movie. He was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was in Knocked Up. Yeah, Knocked Up. He's in the comedies.
Seth Rogen?
No. He was in but same movies. He's in the same movies as Seth Rogen, put it that way. He's got dark hair.
Not Steve Carell.
He was in Clueless.
Oh God.
Which came out prior to this, yeah.
Yeah,
Paul Rudd.
Again, who?
Incubus in 1965. This is shortly before famous franchise show. Then, of course, movies came out.
Any hints?
Beam Me Up, Scotty.
William Shatner?
Yes, sir. Highway to Hell, 1992.
No idea.
Something About Mary. It's an actor. Now you can say that name that you said earlier. Ben Stiller. Alice, Sweet Alice in 1976.
Oh, I should know this one.
She was also a model, I think, at one point in time. She was she was Michael Jackson's date to one of the Grammys events, I think.
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields. And last but not least, Castle of the Living Dead in 1964. This actor is in a lot of movies. He's an old guy. I've usually seen him in an older movie, or as an old guy in later these years. He was. You ever see Beer Fest?
Yes.
He was Opa, the grandpa in that movie that died in the beginning.
Oh God.
He's got a son named Kiefer.
Oh, Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland. So that wraps up my list on Before They Were Stars.
And I was really horrible at this.
You're horrifyingly horrible. Well, that concludes our holiday edition. I hope you guys bear with us to the end.
If you're still awake.
If you're still awake, yes. I'd like to really quick clear things up. I mentioned on a past show that this was going to be a TV show. This is not going to be a TV show. This is all non-profit, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing this without money as much as possible, besides renting or buying movies.
It's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits.
But we do plan on making this into somewhat of a YouTube show eventually. Details would come later when we start getting together, basically our shit together. For that, I'd like to say goodbye.
I bid you adieu.
What was it, the thing you said last time? What was it? Horribly Yours. Horribly Yours, Big Kev and Little Kev signing off. See you later, ladies and gentlemen.
I come from the land of the Irish Spring. Dublin's the place where I learned my thing. From the Emerald Isle to your place in the hood, I'm the man of green, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Blunt is dope, this place is hype. There's a lassie, she's just my type. I hate to resort so soon to marry. Haven't been late in so long, it's happening. I'm so bad, I'm good. I'll show you what to do, so lend an ear. Don't worry, little lassie, you've got nothing to fear. Sit with the lad who's lean and green, and let me show you why I'm a love machine. Come to do no good. I'm a wee green guy who's new to town. Show me what you do when you get down. I'll go up, you go down. We'll cause a scene, you'll love the groove. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, when we're bad, we're good. From the cliffs of Moor to your front door, better turn up the lights and pray some more. We're gonna party through the night until the dawn. Then you and I are gonna get it on. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good.